Hi guys, Mark DeVoe. Welcome back to this channel, Conscious Time, and welcome to this channel where we discuss all things navigating the world through the eyes of awareness, a bird's eye view, dropping judgment, dropping guilt, dropping doubt, and dropping all the negative things basically that hold us back to pave a way for our true godly inheritance, which is we have been given everything lacking for nothing. We bridge spirituality in this channel as well with real world tangible applications, as it were. So hopefully you can walk away from these videos with something real and concrete, and you can go out there and verify it for yourself. So you don't have to take my word for it. Take my word for it so you can actually cut yourself a long period of learning. And let these words resonate with you. So let's jump into this video of, do you really have a purpose? And we all want a purpose. I'm sure you would agree with me that everyone in this world feels, whether they are conscious of it or not conscious of it, they want a purpose deep down inside of us. If you had to think about it, we all want to know what our purpose is. It's probably the biggest calling, from a humanitarian, collective to an individual. What is our purpose? So let's unpack this. So hopefully it will have a little bit of clarity going forward. I'm going to end off on a Course in Miracles quote, a little text that I've taken from a larger chapter. So I'll put the link in there. As always, I find very uplifting. The book is beyond words. As mentioned, it's a curriculum. You have to experience it to really understand what I'm talking about. But again, let these words resonate. It corroborates the spiritual books. It's the Bible. I always go to A Course in Miracles because it's just absolutely profound, and I experience these things. The Bible is a good basis, a great basis, but cannot contain every single secret in the world, can it? But it is a foundation, and this corroborates it. So let me stop waffling on as I do and just jump into it. So what will make it easier is to know, and I've mentioned this before, that your purpose ultimately is the purpose that God has actually given to you. So you have a purpose. The question is, have you aligned yourself with that? And this doesn't have to be a judgmental question. It's just, have we aligned ourselves with it, or have we put up barriers which are illusory? And will and purpose are basically almost one and the same. So your will, what I mean by that is, your will is the will of God's. Your purpose is God's purpose. So God's purpose is fulfilled. And you technically fulfill that. But in time, are we understanding that, and are we aligning with God's will and purpose? I know for me it's been a bit of a barrier in terms of God's will and etc., and almost takes the will away from you. But if you think about it from another perspective, your will is the same as God's. We are part of God, therefore we think with God. We have just blocked that, as we've talked about before, through the ego, the false illusory thought system, which I'll unpack again and remind us you can never ever repeat these things enough. So we have blocked those things, and the world is pulling a veil over us. Okay, so hopefully that is tracking so far. So, and the world will not give you your purpose. So I remember, a lot of people, or sometimes it always comes to my mind where someone has said, whether it's a professional tennis player or, some glamorous or higher calling, a tennis player, professional tennis player, professional boxer, whatever the case may be. A lot of these people will say, this is my will, my purpose. This is what I was born to do. I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's also not necessarily right. Just because it's some glamorous high thing and you succeed at that amazingly, it doesn't mean that's God's true purpose. Just work with me. It doesn't mean that it's not, but I would say this: if it's given over to the Holy Spirit and guided by the Holy Spirit, then yes, it's a higher purpose and calling and will for God. If not, then you're fulfilling the world's calling or purpose, and the world's purpose will always let you down, because the world is It's not base reality. It's not the real world. Jesus talks about this. My kingdom is not of this world. I go to my Father and to your fathers, and we know God is spirit. This is just the flesh. This is just the material world. So that might make a little bit more sense. The world will show you shiny objects, and a lot of us are deceived by these shiny objects on the media, on what we are, we think we should be doing from a calling and a purpose. And if we're not doing something grand, on a grandiosity or a very grand scale, I don't know about you, but it feels like you're almost not fulfilling a purpose. And again, I go back to you either are going with the world, the ego, the world ego, and or you are aligned with the Holy Spirit, and then everything will start falling into place. It could be a higher purpose. It could be a massive higher calling. A lot of us, you always hear, people will say, "Yeah, I want to start a charity and help millions of impoverished kids," and that is a purpose, isn't it? And we feel if we don't achieve that, and again, let me know what you think. If we don't achieve these things, we are not living a fulfilled purpose, or doing a purposeful life. And that is, I think that's deceiving. That is a great calling, but don't do that from a calling of sometimes we are deluded by what we think we should be doing from a purpose, because the ego, as I've mentioned, it's the separate thought system from God. So if you're not thinking with God, you're thinking with the ego, and the ego, as I said before, is taken from A Course in Miracles, and I've experienced this. So you can experience it and go out into the world and understand what I'm talking about, where the ego is the thought system that's separate from God. It's the death, demise. It's the bolstering of itself, or bolstering itself. It tries to make itself better, and it tries to make itself better by big things, being better than other people, superior, or it tries to make itself better by being even depressed, submissive, or whatever the case may be, because it's empowering that individual of the me, myself, and I. So the ego and the world are closely related. The ego will give you that illusion that going to start a big charity and helping millions of people is going to be your true purpose. And if it's not aligned with the Holy Spirit, or guided by the Holy Spirit, then at the end of that, why are you doing that? You're doing that maybe to fulfill a lacking that you feel inside, and we lack for nothing. It's the illusion of lack. So we start this journey only to end up, is it fulfilling? And I would say, starting a charity and giving to people is fulfilling, but that's the extreme case. You've got to always ask yourself, what are you being driven to? What are you being led to? What are those thoughts that I get? Are they your thoughts? Why do you want that? You can see a lot of these shiny things and shiny objects that the world is leading us to, only to have us win the lottery, get a lot of money, get a higher achievement in work, career, only to see that it's not what we thought it would be. If it's spirit-led, again, it's going to be your will and purpose of God, which is yours and God's. So I hope that's making sense. I mean, I've got to catch myself to renew my mind, to align, because sometimes I think, I've got a feeling sometimes that I want to be doing more. I don't think that's a bad feeling. It's just to be aware of that. Why? Am I aligned? A purpose could be you going out to a shop, interacting with a person that really needed to hear certain words. Maybe it's in the workplace. You said something profound, or you said something simple, but it just triggers something in that person that uplifts that person. That is a will and a purpose of God. So there are nuances and little variables in between. It could lead you to a bigger purpose. We all have actually a grand purpose. It's the most grand purpose in the entire universe and world, because it's given by God. It's amazing how it looks in in this world. Those are where we need discernment. So I hope this is making sense so far. Let me just see if I am tracking here. So it looks like I've actually whizzed through a lot of these things. Let me read this statement from A Course in Miracles, which, as always, is beyond profundity. So it goes like this: you still want what God wills, and no nightmare can defeat a child of God in his purpose. For your purpose was given you by God, and you must accomplish it because it is his will. Awake and remember your purpose, for it is your will to do so. I find that profound because, biblically it even speaks about we are asleep. Have we actually awoken? So a lot of us are not awake and aware of these. Let me continue. What has been accomplished for you must be yours. Do not let your hatred, and it just ends off on this statement, which is interesting. Do not let your hatred stand in the way of love. So hatred would be of the ego, and love is always there. It's just masked. For nothing can withstand the love of Christ for his Father and his Father's love for him. So if we end there, Christ is within us. So that's why it says nothing can withstand the love of Christ for his Father or his Father's love for him. So we are all one, and hope that makes sense. Excuse me. So it just verifies that our will is the will of God. A walk away and a takeaway for this, I would say, is if ever in doubt, just ask for guidance by the Holy Spirit. You don't have to do some extravagant bowing down and all sorts of things. You can just simply ask the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit always answers. So if you're ever in doubt, just ask the Holy Spirit in your mind every single day. Will you continue in a great, stupendous, worldly endeavor of purpose? Or will you continue in another trajectory that is still fulfilling, but on another way of purpose? It really does not matter, because you will fulfill your grand purpose with God anyway, and it's going to be amazing. We just got to peel back the purpose that we think we should be doing, what the world is telling us. I think that's the key. So I think I've ticked all the boxes there, and hopefully that has made sense. Hopefully it has given hope. Hopefully it has given understanding on purpose. We all want purpose. I think you've got to be really denying that inner calling that we all want that purpose. So I hope this has added value to it. If it has, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll check you on the next one.